Oh, this is another flight in a series of trips I've been making with X-Plane 11 and FJS 737-200, my aircraft of choice. We're currently at Santa Barbara Municipal, and the weather is not the greatest. That's kind of one of the fun things. This will be a complete flight. It's about 160 some odd miles between our departure airport of Santa Barbara and our destination at San Diego Lindbergh, and the weather is about 300 and with a mile visibility. It's overcast, so this will be a cold, dark cockpit startup. So let's go inside and take a look. For the checklist that's provided with this aircraft, first thing we're going to do is turn on the battery, then work our way down and turn on the APU. The APU needs the aft fuel pump of the left engine's wing tank pump to be on. Well, the best way to say that. And now the APU gets turned on to the on position, then start, and we're monitoring the EGT. It's starting to rise. That's all we need to see at this point. And we want to turn the position lights on BAT position. That indicates to ground crew that the aircraft now has power. So we're going to wait for this light here to illuminate, and what will happen is the EGT gauge is going to go up fairly high. When it comes back down and stabilizes, that's when this light should illuminate. Take a quick peek outside. We do have the power on. I'm going to recycle my Bluetooth speaker. Okay, you hear the AP running now. And there's the light. Didn't watch it, but EGT goes up fairly high and then comes back down, stabilizes here, as we can see in the lower end of the green arc. So we're good to go. What we're going to do is put the generator on the bus online. Both these switches go to the down position or on position. Okay, checklist next calls for pre-flight of the overhead panel, both captain and the FO side, which I'm going to do in a little bit. I like to do it at this point in time. Not go there. I like to go ahead and set up the flight. Believe it or not, I am a purist. I like BORIDF flying, but I like FJS's implementation of the standard FMC. Of course, it will not do VNAV, but you can put in flights via LNAV, which is GPS direct. And which actually that's not true. LNAV encompasses quite a few things, but in any event. So to get this going, start off by the clear button and go to the flight plan button, and that's the first steps required to get correct information. So we're currently at Santa Barbara. That's Sierra Bravo Alpha, and our destination is Kilo Sierra Alpha November, San Diego Lindbergh. What I like to do is put the destination airport as a fix, get an idea of the mileage, and it'll give us a straight line course here. And this is nautical miles, and then ETE once we get once we get going. So it is KSAN. Okay, as we can see, it's 166 miles. Direct course should be reciprocal of 294. Okay, so subtract 200, 094, add 20, so that's 114. This would be about a direct course. And so next I'm going to go to the direct to page. And I'm not sure it's going to work. I've got the binding chart and the approach plate. I'm not sure if it's going to show. Let's see if it does. So this is the planned route here. Santa Barbara is right here. Going to be driving direct to Ventura, Victor Tango Uniform UVOR, then offshore to Santa Catalina VOR, Sierra X-Ray Charlie, and I've got the route going to the Mission Bay VOR, but we're actually going to be probably going on vectors somewhere north to execute the ILS runway 9er at San Diego. Initial approach fix is Sarge's intersection, and we'll probably get a vector out to the west here to fly downwind and come back around and execute this approach. So I'm going to start off here by putting in Victor Tango Uniform Ventura VOR. And yes, that is the VOR we want. Okay, it's a course of 104, 43 miles. Next we'll put in Santa Catalina VOR. That's Sierra X-Ray Charlie. Okay, 132 on the course, 54 miles. And from here, strictly speaking, should go ahead and put in Mission Bay VOR, because there is actually no direct way to get from the Ventura VOR to the initial fix of Sarge's. That's Sarge, S-A-R-G-S, which is on the approach course. There's no direct way. The only way to really do it via a route, specific route, is to go to the Mission Bay VOR. So I'm going to do that. That's Mike Zulu Bravo. And from there, there's a transition route out to the approach course at Gatto intersection, G-A-T-T-O. However, well, you know, actually, this is the way to do this. I'm going to go ahead and put in the initial fix of Sarge's next. If we were actually having to do this without ATC guidance, we'd have to go to the Gatto intersection, which is actually closer to the airport than Sarge's. So if this were real life, that's probably the way it would be flight planned, but I'm going to go in and put in Sarge's next. And this will be the fix that will get vectors to, so we will actually not be going direct from Mission Bay VOR or to Sarge's. In fact, after Santa Catalina, I'm probably going to go ahead and put Sarge's, replace Mission Bay VOR with it, and then as we head towards Sarge's, we'll break it off and go fly downwind. Vectors for the approach. San Diego does have radar, so that's probably what will happen. It's actually SoCal approach. So that's actually all we need for a route. Pretty simple. It's only 160 some odd miles. So we are definitely flying odd today, altitude-wise. So I'm going to go ahead and put in about 50250. Okay, our route and set altitude are now in our set windows. I can't talk today, sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and now continue with the pre-flight items. First step is to for the checklist once again that comes with the aircraft. Just turn the yaw damper on, galley power on, emergency exit lights armed, window heat on, and working our way down. Gas fan needs to go on. Oh, and one other step is need to verify this selector switch here needs to be in the passenger cabin selector mode. Alright, left pack needs to go on for right now. APU bleed needs to go on. And this is the pressurization window here. We're going to go ahead and put in 50250 will be our cruising altitude. And San Diego International Lindbergh Field is at 17 feet. Yes, 17 feet. So we'll go ahead and set 20 feet pressurization window. So our cabin is right now set to be at 6,000 feet. We can monitor it here on this gauge. Okay, let's go back to the main panel. Next would be to get all the flight instruments set up. And I'm doing this all GPS, so what I like to do is ahead of time get the inbound course for ILS set to 0905. That way when you switch back to standard navigation, we're not having to worry about flipping the HSI around to that course. It will already be there for us. Okay, our course to our first waypoint is the course of 104, departing on runway 7 here at Santa Barbara. So I'm going to go ahead and set in the heading of 100, our expected heading course on departure. Okay, and altimeter set 3009er is the correct local altimeter setting. I like to leave this one on 29902 just for comparison's sake. Alright, last thing we're going to do here is go ahead and activate the GPS mode. So what we can see now, the HSI is pointing 104 course is 43 miles, which is to the Ventura VOR, and 100 on the heading is set. So let's look at weight and balance. Another one nice implementation. That's one of the reasons I like to fly this airplane. Is FJS has done such a great job. Okay, currently we've got 79 souls on the schedule to be on board. Let's go ahead and drop that off a little bit. Let's bring it down to 72. We have about 500 mile range currently in our tanks. Let's go ahead and even up the center tanks up just a little bit. And that is more than adequate for distance we're going, 160 some odd miles, 500 mile range, so we're good, doing well. Alright, let's check the numbers. Okay, we'll be using 2.15 EPRS, which is set in our window, and which also coincides with 97.4 for then 1 setting. I'm going to use 2 degrees of flaps. I like that setting. And 4.77 is our stab trim setting. And shortcut to get to the trim wheel is number 2 on the keyboard, and 4.77 currently in the stab trim set about 5. So click anywhere in this green range here and that'll set it for us. And it's not going to move very much. Okay, that's all it takes. So our V1 is 128, VR is 129. This is what PNF flying will call out. V2 is 135. We want to get flaps 1 up by 150 and up all the way by 190. It happens pretty fast, that first flap setting. And what I do is actually call for flaps 1 pretty much right after departure. Same time, ask for the gear up once we're positive rate. Our takeoff weight today is 93,944 pounds. We have a little over 10,000 pounds of fuel on board. And that's all we need to see. So, for the checklist here, I have it running on another computer. And looks like we are, yes, we're ready to push. Yes, we're ready to push. So, cabin crew advises 72 folks are on board. And settling down, so let's go ahead and close the doors up. I say this in all my videos, but I've just such a phenomenal job FJS has done detail-wise. I just recently watched a video on YouTube about the closing ceremonies and closing flights of this aircraft with Alaska Airlines, which took place in 2007. And this is the way the doors all work. Of course, up in Alaska, where there aren't any large passenger loading docks, this is how people got off and on through these doors and stairs. Okay, we close up the main forward entry. And which we are. Okay, better pushback plugin is installed unless what I'm going to use. Is there? Oh shoot! I just noticed something here. No smoking signs and seat belt signs should have been on already. My apologies. Well, if people are standing up now, I'm sure they're sitting down. So the way to implement better pushback plugin in this aircraft is simply just push the ground call button. And actually, we really don't need it today because our position is actually, look here. Well, we really should have ground handling people. Well, let's just go ahead and bypass that for today. For this, because we're already pushed back, we're ready to position the taxi. So, to prepare for engine start, all fuel pumps on the wing tank fuel pumps are selected to on. I do not need to turn on the center fuel pumps. That's only required if the center tanks have 1,000 pounds of fuel or more. Secondly, the electric hydraulic pumps need to be turned on. They are now. Left pack needs to go off to select pressure for start, indicating just under 40 pounds. I believe 30 pounds is the minimum. So we're good there. And the collision light needs to go on. Okay, checking the checklist. Okay, engine start procedure. Okay, we're all set. Use the 2 start switches here. They're 4 position, off, low ignition, flight, and then ground. We're going to use the ground position to actually get the turbine turning. They'll be turning N2, the high pressure side, and as soon as and it'll switch back to off after it has started. And then before we depart, we're actually going to use the flight position because we're going to be in definitely visible moisture most likely, as we'll turn on the wing and engine and ice as well. Okay, so we've got the collision lights going. We are ready to start, so we can go ahead and turning 2. Position, let's go ahead and monitor. We're looking at these gauges here. First step is to get N2 compressor, turbine turning up to 20%, which it is. Go down here and fuel lever goes to the on position. N2 continuing to rise, EGT is rising, N1 starting to rise, oil pressure starting to rise. Okay, the light is out for the manual checklist. Once the light's out, start switch is closed, and we have a good start on 2. So let's repeat the process for number 1. Okay, we're turning 1. Again, watching N2 start to rise. Okay, 20%. Introduce fuel. N2 continuing to rise. EGT is rising. N1 starting to rise. Oil pressure is rising. Okay, the light is out. So we've got a good start on 1. Next we need to get the engine driven generators online. Take the APU generator off the bus offline. And once we do both of these, the light now illuminates for the APU. Next we're going to go ahead and turn on pitot-static heat. Working our way down, we're going to go ahead and turn on wing anti-ice and engine anti-ice. Left pack goes back on, right pack goes on, APU bleed goes off, pressurization set to flight. Position light now goes to on, and start switches to flight, and lastly the APU goes off. This light will extinguish. Okay, we should be ready to taxi here. Checking the tap start for taxi checklist. Generators are on, pitot-static is on, wing anti-ice and engine ice are on. Both packs are back on. APU bleed is off. Flight pressurization is now set to flight. APU start is off. Start switches are in ignition or flight in this case. We'll set flaps on taxi out. Pitch is set. Weather radar we don't need. And taxi light we don't need. So okay, we're ready to taxi. Once again, we'll be taxiing runway 7 here at Santa Barbara. And I don't know what all sources instigate this. These lights are just precaution, and I believe this is illuminated because we're on GPS mode. It's just, hey, these are just take a look at, make sure it's set the way you want. So we know that's good, and the altitude is set. So I'm going to go ahead and release the parking brake here. And so taxi straight ahead, then we'll be turning fairly sharp to the right. We'll be crossing 2 parallel runways here at Santa Barbara. They're short ones, 3.3 and 1.5, and that'll take us on our way to runway 7. And I like to go at external view once in a while. Let's do that. Say goodbye to the Santa Barbara terminal. But could turn here at this taxiway, but we'll be crossing and then have to find another taxiway. If we go on this taxiway down here, then we go across both runways and take the main taxiway to the main runway. Fast here, but this aircraft really passes pretty fast. You don't need to check idle. Probably with the flight idle right now. So moving along. A couple things I'm going to be looking for in this flight is you've seen any of the previous videos I've mentioned several times probably that the flight director is not behaving in the way it's supposed to, as I've concerned, from my understanding. So that's one thing. Second of all, the call-outs that occur. The level off say is assistant's supposed to advise both an audible cue as well as annunciator light when we're 1,000 feet of our set altitude, and then once again 200 feet. Well, I'm getting the visual, but have not been getting the audio, and I don't know why. And also, what has not worked recently, and I don't know why. Is the call-outs when on a descent. I think it's 1,000 feet, 500 feet to go, and I think 300, 100 feet. And those have stopped working, at least on the last flight. So, do an audio check. Might do that. The first one. That. Let's prepare for departure. First of all, let's go ahead and set flaps 2. Flaps 2 have been selected. You can see that here. Let's do the ground proximity warning test as we're taxiing. Oh, right, so lots of warnings.
Light slow. Low up. Wind shear. Wind shear. Wind shear. Terrain. Up. Airspeed low. Sink rate. Pull up. Terrain. Pull up. Don't sink. Don't sink. Too low. Terrain. Too low. Gear. Too low. Flaps. Too low. Terrain. Flight slow. Bank angle. Bank angle. 100. 50. 30. 20. 10. 500.
Well, that does seem to check out. You noticed annunciator lights here came on during part of that, pull up and below glide slope. Visual cues we'll see how it works today. The other thing, I've got the yokes displayed. I have been fine mostly without the yokes displayed. I think that gets over controlled, and in other words, I think they just move a little bit too much. It might be my flight controls. That's another quick note. I have a, it's a good one. I forget the brand. I think it's Thrustmaster. It's an integral throttle, which is nice. What I'm using right now. It's got knobs for nose and steering, which I like, but I could not find one for left-handed use. I'm left-handed, and so the throttle is actually to the left of the joystick. And I'm going to go ahead and stop here. See, we're waiting eye for all these. And I don't have room on my desk here to put it. I've got 3 computers running on the desk and 4 monitors. Not a lot of room, so I have the control sitting on a small table to the left of me. So, which is nice because I am left-handed, but it makes coordinating the two at critical times, such as coming in for a landing, a little more difficult. So, I am a 7,000 hour pilot, about 4,000 hours of multi and 1,000 hours of turbine, and so, I've been through this before, so I'm going to be staying on autopilot pretty much throughout the flight once we do engage it. And on the approach, I like the VREF plus about 20 or so, a couple hundred feet above. Today we'll probably be breaking out about 300 feet AGL down in San Diego with about a mile visibility. So once we come visual, I'll probably disconnect autopilot there, and as well as reducing the throttle. VREF will probably be somewhere in the 120s, so I'll be looking for somewhere around 145 to 150, so about a 300 foot elevation to go, and we can check that with our radar altimeter just to the right of the standard altimeter. So let's get this show on the road. Okay, clear for takeoff, runway 7. We'll fly heading a 100 on departure, Alaska 738. And also I use an external monitor, a second computer for external views, so which I am monitoring right now because I'm going to go ahead and go
approaching
here.
7.
Go to the overhead here, get our lights on. One more to get on here.
On runway 7.
So once again, the weather said about 300 overcast, mile visibility and light rain. Like we're really close here. And let's get the strobes on. Clear for takeoff. Let's go back to, oops, go off here. Okay, it is 4:15 local. Should be about a 30-minute flight, 35. So let's go ahead and advance the power. I'll begin advancing it up close to power, and my attention is going to be outside, obviously, keeping the aircraft on center line. I'll let the first officer actually set the final power setting. I just get it close. Set power. Power setting.
80 knots.
Call V1 and then rotate. 130 in range.
V1. Rotate.
Okay, rotation is 2 degrees per second. positive rate flaps up, good correction flaps 1, gear off. It's pretty tough. The built-in checklist just says to retract flaps all at the same time, but for the system here, the numbers we saw, it's supposed to get flaps up prior to that. Okay, let's go with those here a little bit. Yeah, it's a little slow on the rotation there. They got those up. Okay, let's go flaps up, gear off, after the valve checklist. Okay, right hang of 100, expected direct wind turn 5 miles, launch at 7:38. On the rollout is half the amount of banking that you had prior to, which I didn't do there. There's a 100 heading. The thing we need to do here is I like to have the piston panel in front. I say I have external views on the second computer. But raising it back up once we get close on the approach. Here is wings and climb power, 19% E1. The second gauge is down. Power engine controls. Once again, we are on GPS, so we're actually flying the route for the FMC. And over there. So, and then enable that. Okay, direct bend to our rescue unchanged, common routine 50250, rescue 730. So just brought up the FMC, so we're going to go update our direct course. Right now it's showing 103. Bring Ventura down to the scratch pad, back up again, and then execute this, and there'll be a small change where we'll send a needle. It's now on 107 course to Ventura. Get there, tracking that with yellow pilots, over here, turn both panels of yellow pilot on, and get the autopilot tracking. Now, have set view our low setting on the autopilot control panel. That's turned here. We are now tracking via the GPS. And altitude hold is amber. It'll turn green once we capture it and level off at our set altitude of 5.0. I like to keep the heading above the line with our course. Be above 10,000. Turn all the lights off. I'm not going to do because cars have checklists. I always seem to forget to turn it back on again, so it's going to be fun. There's a shortcut to bring up the FMC, so you can actually do it 3 ways. One is using the shortcut FJS as supplied, hitting the number 1 key on the numerical keyboard, and let's write down. And let's check our update on meet need. Right now it's saying 37 minutes, that's direct course at 152 miles. That's about 116 direct course. And of course this will decrease quite a bit once we level off and get our cruise speed going. And let's go back to our direct course page. Now to return to the previous view, simply press the same key that brought us down here. Number 1, hit it again, takes you back to the previous key. The other 2 other ways you can bring up the FMC is to hit the F key, Foxtrot key on the keyboard, brings it up, hit it again, goes away, or simply click on the head, FMC head, and then click it again, works there. Yeah, I watched a video of someone else flying this yesterday, and I was watching carefully how he activated the autopilot system. And if I remember correctly, by setting so one of these modes here on the autopilot after turning, that's not sorry, thinking here exactly what I saw, what I'm thinking. I'm having problems with the flight director working as intended. I remember when he turned both channels, airline and elevator channels of the APU on, and I remember by selecting the tracking mode on the autopilot, automatically set the same mode on the flight director. It's a little different than the way I remember doing it. It's been several months now since it's been working, as my understanding, the way it should work. So if I were to click this once, it's going to go to the VOR mode, but this light here, the flight director, is going to remain amber instead of green. I don't know why. The autopilot is tracking flight director. They should follow each other's lead. And as I remember, the way I did this initially is to set this up, autopilot up, is to set this mode to the mode to localizer first, turn green, and that would set the autopilot mode as well. So I'm going to turn this back off, and it works just fine. The airplane flies just fine. With just the autopilot mode on. Actually, wait till we get to 2,000 here. Coming up on 180. Probably gonna have will remind me if I forget to set this. So I'll just have to deeper punch. Let's hit 299 second pressure. Here's another, I don't know if it's a flaw or something I'm doing wrong, but you notice our speed is quite slow here. That flaps in Europe, but if we look outside, we're going to see that speed brakes are activated, at least one notch. Yeah, look at that. Speed brakes up all the way. I have no clue why they activated. Let's get them up. I'm wondering why we're so slow here. And yeah, they were down all the way. I don't know why. But they are showing green, that's the way they should be. They're now armed for landing. They will activate upon touchdown. Helps keep the aircraft on the ground, windy days and so forth, or fast landing. Okay, now we're getting a Mach speed of 4.42 almost. Okay, we have 8 miles to the Ventura VOR. Up the map. There's our position right here. Out across the Ventura VOR, and more to the south down to Santa Catalina. I don't think we'll see Santa Catalina today. And more south down to San Diego. For cruise power settings, I've noticed this aircraft does quite well. That's anywhere between 1.0, 1.75 EPR up to actually as high as 1.90, depending on the aircraft's weight and altitude. And the desired cruise speed is anywhere between Mach 0.72 and Mach 0.77. So we'll set it accordingly. Okay, made our turn. Set a Catalina VOR, which I know pretty well. It's 26 miles from Long Beach, the coast there, out to the island. Actually, Long Beach is where I learned to fly. Got my initial licenses there. And did quite a few trips out to Santa Catalina Airport. It's pretty much right in the center of the island. And see, we got the altitude alert at 1,000 prior to, which is correct, but no audible cue. This is not that I heard. Okay, 200 feet, notice our altitude has been captured over here. Switch from indicate airspeed now to altitude hold, and which is confirmed now with the instigator light, and we are leveling off. Now, this has an interesting feature. I was not aware of how it works. I watched the gentleman who flew this aircraft yesterday, and you can, it's called control wheel steering. And if you disengage autopilot by turning it off here, and then you can actually use the control wheel to initiate climbs and descents. You simply push forward or aft, get the desired climb or descent rate, and simply let go, and that holds it. And I was not aware of that feature, but right now I'm interested in autopilot and white direction function. Okay, we are level up at 51250. We'll introduce the power. Drive. Now we'll try a bit of 1.8. 1.85 for now. So 44 miles to go to Ventura, to Catalina, and 70 miles to Mission Bay VOR. See if we can try bringing up the approach weight again. Again, I'm not sure if it's going to show. I hope it does. So what we're going to do is for a flight plan down to Mission Bay VOR, and probably going to replace that with Sarges here as we get a little closer. So Sarges will then become the active waypoint, and then somewhere north here be turning out to the west to give myself vectors somewhere on the 275 course, somewhere in there. And the altitude we want for ISOP intercept is 2,000. So somewhere as we approach the vector to the turn will be probably around 3,000. We'll descend down to 2,000. The ISOP intercept altitude, PSIA, which takes place at Gato intersection. In fact, I should probably go and put Gato in there. I'll do that here. We're 7.3 out. At which at which position we will then intercept the ice over 2,000. It's standard. Oh, actually, it's a little higher than standard minimums here. 303/4 is required for the approach. Or 258 and 4,000 RBR. Might just go and raise the weather here a little bit. Okay, that's the plan. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and add Gatto, Alpha, Tango, Oscar. Put it on the flight plan. See, that's right what we want for inbound course 094. And again, to start to fly towards Mission Bay, I'm going to go ahead and bring the Sarge down and have the aircraft fly direct to Sarge, and then direct her off to the west, come back around and going down. I'm going to fly all the way to the Mission Bay VOR. So for descent planning purposes, initial altitude we want to get down to is 3,000. So we're going to go from 25 down to 3, which is 22,000 feet to lose. If we do it at 2,000 feet a minute, it's going to take about 11 minutes, which is pretty standard for this aircraft. Power levers are quite idle, and 250 knots set here on the autopilot control panel, and 250 knots plug here. This indice here is the set speed, and we change it with this knob here. The aircraft will descend about 2,000 feet a minute. The other shortcut is to take that altitude you wish to descend, in this case 22,000 feet, multiplied times 3, get rid of the zero, so you end up about 66 miles prior to. So we want to be at 3,000 feet, probably right when we take vectors to Sarge's. Should probably be about 5 miles from it. We'll then turn to the down and move off to the west. So, which is right now 98 miles from our present position. So probably we're somewhere about 10 miles from Mission Bay VOR. We'll start down, but actually, as I said, I'm going to replace Mission Bay with Sarge's here, and we'll see what that distance is as we after we make the change. It should be around 78 miles. If I were to change this as soon as we say get to side of Catalina. Take a quick peek outside. Oh, we're flying right over Catalina, right down there. Classic. Yellow lots of colors. Which I remember. I did hit it quite a few times the last one. On the old 727. I think they had a couple newer 727s. I can't remember, but I believe most of them were Dash 200s. So that was a long time ago. But yeah, Santa Catalina, back when I was getting my licenses, this was, oh geez, many years ago. I flew out to Catalina, and the big draw back then were buffalo burgers. And I can't remember specifics, but I remember they sure tasted pretty good. Island is littered with buffalo. Okay, we're up to Mach 0.70. And power's back. little further than it needed to be, probably. Check yeah, direct line to the airport at 77 miles, 111. That would be a direct course to it, and about 10 minutes from the airport. If we're going to go direct to it, which we're not going to do. Okay, just made this crossing over Santa Catalina VOR, now heading direct to Mission Bay VOR, which is almost, well, it's northwest of the airport, a couple, maybe 4 or 5 miles. Let's get the heading button. I can watch the airplane. Alright, what I'm going to do now is go ahead and on this page where we want to be. Okay, you used to teach the FMS system for Boeing, Flight Safety Boeing, years ago, and this one does a pretty good job. The way it's programmed, you cannot delete the active waypoint, but you are supposed to be able to replace it if necessary, so which happens quite often, I'm sure. So what I want to do here is I want to go direct to Sarges, and we'll break off the flight downwind from Sarges as we get closer to it. So it's going to bring Sarges down to scratch pad and back up to the direct tube. If you, it will not allow entry in line select for Mission Bay. I do not believe. So I'm going to bring it up here at the direct, which now replaces Mission Bay VOR. And it is what we want. So now we have 113-degree course to Sarges, 53 miles. We're going to start heading down here. Oh, one thing I did want to do is I want to disconnect this. I'm going to go ahead and disengage the autopilot for right now. We're on manual flight. Right now. Now I'm going to try selecting, instead of turning both channels on first, I'm going to try selecting your local mode. Oh, okay. It does do it. It automatically turns autopilot on, but does not turn the flight director on. This is, yeah, so this is, I don't know. It's kind of frustrating. I don't know what happened to it. Alright, so we want to start down here, 47 miles right behind here, so go ahead and set and indicate airspeed, which now commands the aircraft to descend at the set speed of 250 knots. To get there, we have to lower the nose, obviously, and reduce the power. Power goes back to flight idle, and we need to set 3,000 feet is going to be our initial descent altitude. And we're a little behind the power curve here, so I'm going to go ahead and cross the speed brakes. And the closer we get to 250 knots of set speed, right here, the greater descent rate, it'll start to descend at a greater rate, end up about 2,000 feet. And I'm going to go ahead and add full spoilers. We should end up about 3,000 some odd feet per minute. Let's bring up our map. Okay, there's the flag for the approach we're going to do. That's us coming in. So Sarge is right about out here somewhere. So we're heading direct here, but somewhere in here probably I'm going to go ahead and make our turn out to the west to fly downwind. Wow, about 3,500 feet a minute. So we need at descent rate right now. So I'll be giving myself vectors via my second computer running external views. So let me a pretty sharp turn here. Right now heading 114 on the course. I'm going to turn all the way to the right to somewhere around 275, 280 on the heading. To apply parallel. The course and on the final vector to the approach course, I'll be switching the input from GPS back to nav. So on that note, it would be a good idea to start putting in frequencies here. First of all, Mission Bay VOR, just for reference, not really used with vectors to the approach. It is north of the west of the airport. The 17.8, which is now set. Localizer frequency is 111.15. Oops. Okay, 111.55 is set. It is active. Both frequencies that we want are both active, indicated by the green light here. So we're good there. Okay, it's showing us 32 miles from the Mission Bay VOR and 25 miles from Sarges. If I had gotten down a little more on time here, it's only 23 miles to Sarges. I may have considered going straight in. So when I do go on, I'm going to have to turn outbound here pretty soon, otherwise I'm going to cross the localizer course. Actually, I might go ahead and do here. Sarges is, let's see, Sarges is 11.3 miles out, and the glide slope is not until 2,000 at Gatto, which is 7 miles out. Actually, this is a pretty good intercept right here. What I might do here, we get down here, is go ahead and go down to 2,000. So what we would need to do here is go on heading mode, heading select mode, so then we can, which would automatically then activate nav mode. Pretty sure. 16 miles, 10,000, Mach 145. That's going to be pretty tight. We need to raise the weather here a little bit so we can see the airport. So, got the base set to 309 feet at present, MSL, which is it's just under 300 feet, and we actually need 300 AGL, 3/4 of a mile visibility. So, I'm going to raise this up a little bit. Otherwise, we might have to do a go around, and don't want to do that. That should be sufficient. We'll leave the visibility at a mile. Okay, that's done. Now, I'm not so sure we're going to have time to get done. time go straight in. Of course, here again, this would not be happening in real life. SoCal approach would be giving vectors, and we're not in a really good position. Also not in a good position to make a turn down because we're coming up on the approach course. The other thing that we're not really configured for the approach this time. So we would really need to, well, 3,000 would suffice, but then make the turn, but then we need to continue on down to 2 so we get down below the guide slope. Alright, let me give this a whirl. Doing this unrehearsed. Here again, in real life, this would probably not be done, but we're really not in a good position to turn. I want to pause and so you know what I'm talking about here. So this is our present. This is us heading here to Sarge's intersection, which is right in here. You can somewhere in here, and which again, that distance is okay if we can get down to at least 3, but we really want to get down to 2 to get the proper glide slope intercept altitude. But of course, with radar vectors and with radar control, they can tell us. We can do anything they tell us to do with that respect. So you can see if anywhere back here on our flight course, we don't have to have turned outbound here, like up in here somewhere, which I didn't do. So I guess we'll give this a whirl, see how it works out. We still have at least 2,000 feet to go. Yeah, I don't know, this may not be the best, but let's give it a shot. So spoilers are out for full position. What I'm going to do here is go to heading mode. Pick up a heading of 115. Which is a shallow intercept, it's only 15 or 20 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and go to select mode and switch this back to nav. You can see that's our course. We're 17 miles out. Actually, this may actually work. I'm going to take a little better heading here. Let's go to 120. And go ahead and activate localizer mode as well as glide slope, which are now enunciated here as active, not captured but active. That's what we want. So there's 3,000. Let's go ahead and go down to 2. Back over here. Okay, their speed, and once again, aircraft below the nose. We'll pick up the speed to 250. I'm going to add a little power here so we don't crash dive down. So the approach is now armed. Localizer and glide slope arm. Here comes the localizer. So we're below glide slope, so we're in good shape here. 13 miles out, so we're a couple miles outside of Sarge's. It's always a little disconcerting. It sometimes takes a bit to make that turn. So 095 is in on course. Alright. Like we're gonna make it pretty well. One of the things that was fun to watch, the way Alaska Airlines flew this aircraft. They flew to one airport up in Alaska called ADAC, which is out on the Aleutian chain. And let's take care of business here. Let's go ahead and add flaps 1. Next, let's go to flaps 5. And we want to be 190 right here. 10 miles out. And my dad was in the Navy and actually was stationed on ADAC for almost a year, I think a year, and the commentator that was talking about how Alaska flew to that airport, it is amazing. That runway is only 3,900 feet, and they went in and out of that airport with this aircraft. Just this airplane is just so cool. Okay, 8 miles out, so coming up on Gatto, should be getting glide. So in fact, there it is. It's alive. And as soon as we capture it here, right there, we'll go and set our new altitude. Okay, it is captured. So let's go down. Let's go and set. Actually, it's 300 feet. Okay, get some power back here. Let's go flaps 10. Flaps 10 requested. Now being set. In fact, let's go ahead and go flaps 15. And let's check our VREF speed. Landing 124. Okay, 6 miles out. I don't have an actual FO looping outside, so I'm going to do both here. I'm going to fly the approach as well as lifting outside. Should be breaking out at about 300 MSL. I'm also looking to see if there's altitude. I think I just heard the visual. Sure, the audio. Visual works. Yes, 5 knots. Let's go flaps 25. Flaps 25 requested and now set. In fact, let's go gear down. Flaps 30 for a landing checklist. Power in there. VREF plus 20, what I like here. No, I didn't hear 1,000-foot calm. I don't know what's going on there. Right here.
Approaching 9.
Those are not working. 500-foot call is not working. I don't know why. It's really weird. Okay, VREF plus a little more than 20, so we're okay. Boy, it's about ready to go around. Okay, runway's in sight. Reducing power here. Down to VREF speed. Yeah, that's about ready to go around. Okay, let's go ahead. Autopilot now is offline. Oops. Depending on what time they're watching the bank angle. Thrust reversers are active. I believe they need to be shut down by 60 knots. Some brakes. Speed. Thrust reversers disengaged. Aircraft moving. Yeah, I'm a little discouraged there. A little late on the flare. I was conscious of the bank angle. I checked my artificial horizon there. I shouldn't have. I might have been stopped here. Yeah, that, frankly, I think I actually went below minimums there a little bit. Actually, I was expecting it to be, so in real life, probably pilot not flying would have called a go around. By the time I noticed we were actually 300 feet in AGL, then the runway came in sight, so that's my justification. Okay, let's go outside. Put the spoilers down. Flaps up. And you can turn all the lights off, really. Don't need passing light either. Turn the strobes off. DP on. To crew, the captain would be taxiing, the first officer would be doing all this. Alright, let's go and go back outside. Brakes released. Yeah, I just don't know why these off-rollers used to work. I don't know why, but what I could do is just remove the aircraft and reinstall it. I have to do that update that FJS provided that was due to pitch oscillation with autopilot engagement. Quite a nasty pitch. Well, that's done it once. It's going to do it again, I guess. I'm really curious why car 1,000 feet, 500 feet to go, 100 feet to go. Go to the west end here. Light at it. Tank is so bad. That might be but you see people that are pretty low on fuel. Load. That might be once you roll. Well, the next flight, I want to get back to Seattle. I might go direct to Seattle or destroy Seattle from here. I might go back to Santa Barbara and then from there go to Seattle. Anyway. Hurry, San Diego was like this thing that I downloaded called from Mr. 6X. It's viewer programming obligated software automatically. So let's see here. Let's go one more here. All those little projects. We're ready to fight. So, I don't know if it's going to be an FJS system, talking guidance system, or it's going to be a marshal. Let's go ahead and see. Over here. Oh, there it is. There. Okay. Let's up on here once we turn to the right a little bit. Alright. Brakes released. Turn a little bit to the right. Let's talk about this. That, so let's go straight. Put a little bit right over the line here. It says going. The brakes. Come back the other way. Nice and so fast. Okay, brakes are set. So, first item on the agenda here is turn the APU generator on. Get back on the bus, turn the engine turbine generators off, and go ahead and shut the engine down. That should be bringing the gate over. Next, I like to go ahead and depressurize the aircraft so get the doors open. So that's been set. And start off here. Turn the heat off. Turn pitot static heat off. All of that nice off. That nice off. Lights will extinguish. Left pack needs to stay on for the APU. Right pack goes off. The APU bleed goes on. Pressurization has already been set to ground. And including lights go off. Start switches to the off position. Engine hydraulic pumps off. Fuel pumps, exception of the left aft pump, stays on for the fuel. That's about all for right now. So let's go ahead and get the entry door open. Attention to detail: if you do not select pressurization to the ground position, these all stay grayed out. I think it takes 30 or 40 seconds before they actually do come after you turn it off or turn it to ground. Okay, let's see how parking job we did. See we were too far over, so I don't think the jet light came over. There's one of Alaska's I think it might be one of their Airbuses. Alright, well, let's go ahead and finish up the doors a bit. And call it quits. The doors are open. Yeah, Alaska, I didn't realize, has a couple Airbus 319, I think. It's a little on the small side. Might actually be. Oh yeah, see, that's not what that is. It's one of the regionals, Horizon maybe. That's probably they have different regionals. I can't think of them offhand. Okay, enough digression here. We're at San Diego. A little marginal on the approach. Apologize for that. I was expecting a little different and a little slow to react, and once again, if this had been actual, this would probably have been a go-around, but it was so close. Okay, thanks so much for viewing, and we'll catch you on the next flight.